This is Thursday night. It's time to discover the gifts God has for you. I'm bringing awareness to what God has for you and the purpose behind your pain. If you have passion in your soul and a gift you haven't unleashed, well, let's talk about it. Having served in the United States Army for the last 18 years and continuing to serve as a service leader to inspire, motivate, guide, and assist residents, I'm bringing a contemporary vibe to being happy and living your dream on purpose. Each week, I will introduce you to a life filled with purpose and how that purpose is being used to glorify God, describing the tips, resources, and strategies to set you up for success. So now, let's jump right in and discover the gifts God has for you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the show on tonight. Tonight, we have an action-packed show. I got lady warriors on the show with me tonight, my fellow sisters in arms. So I'd like you all to please welcome Sergeant First Class Shannon Smith, Staff Sergeant Ashley McGriff, and Petty Officer Revisa Bell to the show on tonight. Let me just tell you all a little bit about the three ladies I am about to interview tonight. Sergeant First Class Shannon Smith was born in Huntsville, Alabama. She joined the United States Army Reserves at age 17 and later joined the AGR program in 2004. That's the Active Guard Reserve program. She's divorced with two amazing boys, aged 10 and 11 years of age. Currently stationed at Fort Rucker, Alabama as the Battalion Human Resources NCOIC. Her favorite hobby is shopping and crafting. She has numerous military trainings to include Unit Administrator, Reserve Pay Course, Equal Opportunity, and Recruiting School. She's also a certified nursing assistant. Staff Sergeant Ashley McGriff was born in Hartford, Connecticut. Ashley was raised in a single-parent household until her mother met her stepdad in 1987. Ashley is the eldest of her siblings, and so she became helping hands to her mother and stepdad to raise her brother and sister. In November of 2001, Ashley joined the United States Army just a few months after the September 11 attack. She has had various assignments since joining the Army, and she's currently stationed at Fort Gordon, Georgia. Ashley has one daughter. She has numerous military awards and decorations to include the Navy and Marine Achievement Medal, numerous AAMs, ARCOMs, Good Conduct Medal, the Global War on Terrorism, and she's also served in various leadership roles to include instructor, platoon sergeant, and section sergeant. Petty Officer Revisa Bell was born in Fort Benning, Georgia. She's the proud mother of two little girls, aged 5 and 3. She enlisted in the U.S. Navy in August of 2010. She attended recruit training at Great Lakes Naval Station. Her first duty station was aboard the USS Nimitz. She has completed her bachelor's degree in human resource management and is currently pursuing her master's degree. She's currently aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt in San Diego, California, performing shore duty. Welcome, ladies. How are you all tonight?
Good.
Good. Good. Glad you all are joining the live line tonight. I thank you all for your service, and I'm so glad to be a fellow sister in arms with you all. We also have something in common. We're also a part of Kappa Epsilon Psi Military Sorority Incorporated. So look us up. Look up the organization if you serve and you are a female, veteran, active duty, retired, a reserve, whatever. Click the button and join, okay? Sign up. Kappa Epsilon Psi Military Sorority Incorporated. So I'm going to jump right in. You know, we're talking about a topic tonight that resonates with a lot of women. And I've received numerous emails and inboxes concerning this very topic. Single moms deployed. Not even just being deployed, but also being away from your child at some point in time. When you decided to sign up, you know, you raised your hand and said, I sign up to join the United States military. You know, so at some point in time, you realize that you are going to be away from your family. So I'm going to just get started. Ashley, I'm going to start with you, sis.
Okay.
You are no stranger to the Army, and you've served your country honorably. After reading your story, I understand your story very, very well. It really resonates with me, and I'm sure it resonates with a host of other female soldiers and veterans. Tell the listening audience about the sacrifice you made as a soldier as soon as you became a mother.
So in 2003, I was stationed in Fort Huachuca, Arizona. I'm initially from Connecticut, so I was miles and miles away from family. I had my daughter in May of 2003, and the rest of my unit was deployed. So I was on Rear D, which is a rear detachment, the people who did not deploy. About 3 months into that, they told us that we would be deploying a month later, and we would have to conduct training that month leading up to our deployment. So at 3 months, I brought my daughter back home to my parents. Um, well, actually, she spent half the time with her dad's parents, and then she was brought to my mom's parents to keep her while I was away in Afghanistan, which was my first deployment. Initially, the deployment was supposed to be 6 months. We got extended, and it ended up being 9 months. So by the time I returned, my daughter was already one.
Wow. Wow. How did that How did that make you feel to know that you were where and your daughter was turn first year, make her first year in life? How did that make you feel inside?
It was hard, but I believe it was for the best for me to be able to provide for her. My family was great. They sent me pictures. They kept in contact over the phone. We didn't really have Skype like that back then. So, but we definitely, they sent me pictures all the time um, and just kept me informed about what was going on. My mom kept her baby book up to date. So, first steps, first tooth, stuff like that.
Wow. Wow. Shannon, Revisa, does that resonate with you all at all? Did you miss the first year of your child's life, either one of you?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not as well.
Okay. So that didn't particularly happen to either one of you, but that's huge. And that happens a lot. And I've been hearing that it's happening more often, that the soldiers are signing up, they get pregnant, and they're off to war. Because things are ramping up. So much is happening right now, and everybody's trying to, the military is trying to keep up with what's going on. And we're soldiers. We got to deploy. We got to leave, and we have to have that family care plan in place in order for us to report for duty as we should. Wow. So, Ashley, when you return home from your first deployment, how was your relationship with your daughter when you got back?
Well, she was still young, so I don't think initially she really knew who I was, but it didn't take long for her to warm up to me. When I did get back home, we did so well. Once I came through reintegration training after you deploy, it was about a week and a half. We were allowed to go on leave, so I went back home, and we had a birthday party, her first birthday party. So we did. My parents did wait until I made it back to have our first party, and I mean, it wasn't, like I said, she was young, so kids at that age are kind of resilient. They don't really know.
That's good. I should say that's good because, my kids, they knew where I was going, and that I was, my son said, I always wondered if you were ever coming back because, TV, soldiers, losing their lives and going into the battle. And I always tell them, son, I'm going to California, or I'm going to Arizona, or I'm going here. But that they don't care about that. They just want to know if you're going to make it back,
Right. You're
so,
not there with them.
Exactly.
And
So, Shannon, you got a different spin on it. So you were never actually deployed overseas into harm's way, but you've been TDY, which is temporary duty in another location away from your children. So
Yes.
shed a little bit of light on the difference between deploying and going TDY for us.
So, of course, deploying I don't think is as bad, but TDY is just as bad. Unlike Ashley, I was there for my kids. The first time I ever had to leave them, my youngest son was 18 months. And so what was hard for me about that was that I had to leave for 2 weeks, and for 18 months I had been nursing. So this was the my parents' way or my mom's way, and I guess the Army's way of saying too, it's time to stop nursing. So that is actually how it was a good thing and a bad thing. It was, a good thing because it probably was time. It was 18 months. But that's how I actually was able to stop nursing.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. When I went, I used to, have my gun on. That's the first thing I always ask. Why?
mm-hmm.
In your mind, I'm going somewhere inside, I'm going to school, or have you. It doesn't seem so bad, right?
Right.
It doesn't seem bad after all.
Yeah.
Revisa, can you?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
It's coming in and out.
You're cutting out.
Revisa.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
It's coming in now.
I'm trying to figure out where everyone just went.
We're
Bear
here.
with us on the live if you're on the live line with us. So we just lost Ashley and Shannon. Hopefully they come back soon. But Revisa, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear and see all of you.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. So you can see everybody else too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm not sure. Let me see. I can't see either one of them. So we're experiencing some sort of technical difficulty right now, but I'm going to keep on going, and I think they're going to try to rejoin in just a second. So Revisa, after I dived in a little bit to your story, it definitely hit a nerve for me because I had struggles with my children as well. Leaving and coming, and issues with my son acting out and things of that nature. So when I read your story, I was like, oh my God, this happened to me as well. So I could resonate with your story. Take the listening audience through one of your most difficult times of being on the ship and hearing that your daughter had broke her arm. Take the listening audience through that for me.
Okay, so this past October, I left for my first deployment. I was only a month in, so it was already hard for me. It's the first time going this amount of time being away from them. So a month in, I get a call from my mother saying, don't worry, but, and it's just like a big pause.
Yeah, but
Raylan fell and she broke her arm. So I'm freaking out because I can't do anything about it. I'm in the middle of nowhere. And so all I'm doing is getting pictures from the hospital and everything. But the good thing about it is that she wasn't in pain. She all she said is that her boo-boo hurts and had a cast and was thumbs up and was happy. So it made me feel better, but I was hurt because I couldn't be there for that first broken arm. I couldn't comfort her or anything like that. So I did cry to myself.
I would cry too.
But I took it hard, but I didn't let my mom or anybody else know that I was taking it hard because she was doing okay. She was fine. It was just, I was a little upset that I couldn't be there to, cuddle my baby because she hurt herself.
Yeah, that's understandable. As a mom, we have that nurturing spirit, and if we can't do that, it's all wrong. Whatever it is, it's all wrong because we're not there to do it. No matter if dad is there or an aunt or uncle or your grandma, I don't care. As long as you have been a mother and you birthed a child and you take care of your children, you're going to have that nurturing spirit that says, I'm not there. I'm going to cry. I'm internalizing this. And, something going to have to give. And as I was away from my children, when that happened to me, I had to shift my emotions elsewhere. And, if that was, talking to another soldier about it, however it was, I had to get through it so I could get back, because I couldn't just walk out of my training or walk off my duty and go back. So I had to cope with it some type of way. So with that being said, Ashley, take us through a typical day for you as a deployed soldier away from your child. Tell us about your typical day.
So usually we would wake up. Sometimes we would do PT, which is our physical training in the mornings. Once we finish, I
just lost Ashley's audio. Shannon, you still there?
I am.
Here she go. Bear with us, you all. Ashley. Okay. Here she comes. She's coming back in now.
Okay. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So after we would do our physical training for the morning, we would go eat. However, during that deployment, it wasn't the best of food. We were kind of just starting off. It was 2003. So we would have like eggs, and they weren't real eggs. They were like the powdered eggs, some bacon. I don't eat red meat or pork. So deployments are really hard for me at times. Sometimes I would just eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We did not have lunch at that time. So instead of going to our DFAC, which was our dining facility, we would either have to buy something from the commissary, or we would have to eat MREs, which are the meals ready to eat. So when you watch MASH and all that other stuff, the meals that you got to tear open the bag and warm stuff up. So, after a few days, you don't want to eat MREs anymore. So you become very creative, on finding stuff or having your family send you items to eat. We did have a hot dinner. And then, in between that, of course, work. So we would work from usually 8 a.m. until about 5 p.m., depending on the shift work. Of course, it was Afghanistan. So the weather there, they kind of go through all the seasons. So it is extremely hot, or it can be very cold. So this was during the summer months, so it was extremely hot. And I am a cable systems installer. So we install internet and telephone lines. To include poles that go on the ground. So imagine digging 6-foot holes with equipment in 100-degree weather, putting cables on the pole and different things of that nature. And then you go home to sleep in a cot. It wasn't a bed. We didn't have beds then like we do on deployments now. It was
Did you ever share, like FaceTime your daughter and show her how you were living?
So then we didn't have FaceTime and stuff. We were still writing letters. It wasn't. I mean, I think they had like VTCs, the video teleconferences, but that was for a unit. It wasn't for individual use.
Right.
So yeah, we couldn't FaceTime or anything like that. But we were living in tents. Sometimes Stuart Little was there with us. But definitely. I've come back to my tent a few times, and I must have left the muffin out, and the muffin is gone. So it was a little hard. That's we had porta johns to use. The showers were intense, so it was definitely an extended camping trip, I guess you can call it. And then I would get to. Luckily, we did run the internet and telephone line, so we had phones within our unit area. Most units didn't have their own individual phones, so we were able to have our phones, and we would call our families quite often. So that was a good thing.
That's good. I haven't had the pleasure of experiencing that, but Revisa, tell us about your deployment experience. Did you ever share your experience? Because you joined in 2010, so you should have been able to use video technology to FaceTime your daughters or some sort of video chat. Take us through your typical day deployed on the ship.
So actually on the ship, we don't have video chat capabilities. But they do give us phone cards. We call out and talk to our family there, but we can't do video chat because we're secluded. Sometimes there's not a signal anywhere to bounce anything off us. We're floating in the middle of nowhere half the time. So when we do have the capabilities, they'll let us know when we can call out, but we have to be aware of how we talk about what we're doing or where we're at. We can't say that stuff over the lines, anything. So we have to wait pretty much till we get to our next destination and then call our family like, okay, we made it to this place. We can't inform them ahead of time where we're going. So it's all just, I'll call you, pick up if you see a weird number, and then you just got to let them know.
Wow. So did you ever share your experience with your daughter? Does she know exactly your living conditions while you aboard the ship?
So I took her on before we left, both of them, and I showed them our berthing. We have, so there's about, let's say, 120 girls in our berthing. We sleep in coffin racks, so they're pretty much as big as a coffin. You can't sit up in them or anything. They raise up. That's where you store all your gear and your clothes and everything. And so there's 3 of them. So you can either sleep on the top rack, the middle, or the bottom. And then there's usually people across from you down the line all throughout the berthing. Our berthing, we shared 4 showers with another department. So there was like almost 200 girls to 4 showers, maybe 3 stalls. Not always having hot or cold water. So sometimes you're getting burned or sometimes you're doing double Dutch, cleaning, jump in, jump out. So it all depends. Our food, sometimes it was a hit or miss. Sometimes you're standing in line for an hour or 2 just to get something that's probably not cooked all the way. But it all give and takes. But I survive mostly off of care packages. So people send me food, and it's easier. Just take it, microwave it, and then you're good to go.
Wow. Okay. So being a soldier versus a sailor, I'd rather be on dry land. I'm sorry. I'd rather be on land where I can take off and run or something. I don't know. Get on a boat. Do you know how to swim?
Yes.
Okay. All y'all gotta be able to swim, right?
Well, you have to pass your first initial swim test, but you don't have to test for anything further than that. So a lot of people, I swim because I want to, but if I didn't like swimming, all I had to do is pass my initial test and I was good. No more swimming for me.
Okay.
You can't be claustrophobic though.
Oh no.
I've been inside those ships in Hawaii and I was like, I don't know how they can land here. I think I would lose my mind. And somebody
not sleeping in the middle.
Somebody over the top of you and you like, she's literally not lying, y'all. It's the size of a coffin. The size of a coffin. And don't let somebody swing their leg over you like, get out of my face. Wow. Okay, good stuff. So Shannon, how difficult was it for you to cope with being a single mom? When you knew, what went through your mind, if you don't mind sharing, your transition from being married to being a single mom. What was that like for you?
It was rough because even when I was married, we always put the kids first. Even now, we always put the kids first. And it's just, I think it was rougher on me than it was. No, I think it maybe was rougher on the boys than it was on me because so prior to us getting a divorce, we were not located in the same area. So it was just hard for them, wanting to see their daddy or wanting to talk to their daddy. Now, granted, they talk to their dad every morning, every night, and on the weekends during the day, they talk to him. But it was rough just going from one parent to 2 parents, or from 2 parents to 1 parent, and trying to be there for the boys. At one point, we found ourselves overcompensating for him not being there and just buying them everything they wanted. And, we had to realize that wasn't the right way of dealing with it. So it was rough, but as time went on, it got easier. And like I said, like you've said on numerous occasions, with this technology now, they just don't talk to them. They FaceTime them. So they see them every morning,
Yeah.
He calls, wake him up in the morning, tell him have a good day, so forth, so forth. So it's not that bad
Yeah.
now.
I can honestly tell you all that when I joined the Army, I was a single mom. I was no, when I joined the Army, I didn't have a child. But as I, grew up the ranks, I was a single mom first. Before I even got married, I had two children, and I wasn't with their dad, so I know how it feels to be by yourself, raising a child and having to leave. Because my aunt and my grandmother was my support system. So I would drop my children off over my grandmother's house and, pray with them and leave them and go off to do my duty and then come back. And, I joined the Army back in 1999 and I joined the AGR program in 2005. But between those years from 99 to 2005, I was a single parent. I was a single parent raising my children, my two children at the time. And it was hard because they wanted that father figure, especially my son, because he knew who his dad was. Now, my daughter, my second child, she knew who her dad was, but because she was so young, the transition to my husband wasn't difficult for her, because I met my husband when my daughter was 6 months old. So the transition for my baby girl wasn't as bad as it was for my son. Because my son was like, I know my dad, when he started talking, he knew who he was and everything. But for my daughter, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Yep. So let's talk about being aware that when you sign up to join the United States military, that without a shadow of a doubt, you may become a mom and you may have to leave your child one day. So, Revisa, tell me about the point in which you joined the Navy and you knew in the back of your mind that there was going to be a time that you had a child and you may have to leave your child. Tell me what your thought process was in processing that information when you joined.
I really didn't think about it too much because when I first signed, I was only going to do my initial contract and get out. Mm-hmm. That's all I was going to do. But, I fell in love, I guess, and got married, had two beautiful girls, and then I decided to stay because my daughter, they had issues. So my oldest ended up having asthma, and then there was my little one had issues with her legs. So they were getting treated. So I was like, you know what, right now it would be best for them to stay where they are with the medical insurance that I have. So I decided to re-enlist. So when I first joined, I knew I was eventually going to get married and have kids, but I didn't think it was going to actually happen while I was in the military. So it's something new. It was something new I had to start thinking about after I started having kids, if I wanted to stay. Then once I found the reason why I was going to stay, then I ended up just liking it. So now I'm going on. I just hit 8 years in, and I plan to go ahead and do my full 20.
Amen. You got to keep pushing, sis. You got to keep pushing, because I'm almost there myself. But, we got to keep pushing. There's things that come along our path that try to deter us, and, we want to throw the towel in. But, if that's what it is in your heart to do, you got to keep pushing. So I got to tell y'all this. I didn't think I could have children. When I joined the military, I was in a relationship with a man for a long time, as a teenager, fresh out of high school, and I was having sex, but I never got pregnant. So I thought that I could not have any children. I literally thought that. So children wasn't even on my mind at all, and my first, 99, 2000, 2001, 2000, my first 3 years, I didn't get pregnant either. And I dated, so I didn't think I could have kids. It wasn't until, I was in the Army Reserve and I went off and got a job in California, and I met this guy, and I started getting sick to my stomach, literally. And I went to the hospital and they told me I was pregnant. I was like, what? Pregnant? Me? Going up and having sex all this time and couldn't get pregnant. And here it is. I meet this man in California, only been knowing him for like 4 or 5 months. And I got pregnant, and lo and behold, that That's how I got my first child. I found out real quick that I had kids. So, Shannon, tell me, how does that resonate with you? You know, when you first joined and you knew you were signing on a dotted line that you were gonna, possibly deploy or, have to leave your family.
So when I first joined, I originally joined because somebody told me I couldn't join. Mm-hmm. So I have always been that one that kind of go against the grain. Right. So that's why I joined. I never thought that I would be in here now. I'm over 15 years. So I never once thought that, but I can relate to what you're saying because so before I had my first son, we had lost 4. So it was like I was just at the point I give up. I don't want to try anymore. And their dad was like, no, at that time. So in the military, anytime you lose 3 babies, you're considered high risk. And so they do all these tests to figure out why you're losing them or what's wrong. So on the 3rd loss, actually it was the 4th loss that we lost, they when they did the DNC, they actually kept the baby to see what was wrong, and they ran tests, and that's when we found out that I have a blood clotting disorder. So when we got pregnant with Trey, I was completely surprised, but it was a good surprise. So yeah.
A surprise. I definitely can understand that too because I lost 4 children myself, 2 sets of twins. So I definitely understand that. Thank you all who have just joined the live line. This is Walking Through It, Thursday night at 8 with Lens of Faith. Tonight I am interviewing 3 of my sorors, Ashley McGriff, Shannon Smith, and Revisa Bell. We're talking about single moms deployed, not just being deployed overseas, but away from your children. So if you can resonate with that, let me know that you joined the live line. If you're replaying, please hashtag replay. Ashley, I wanna talk about the women that are single, that have children, but they're struggling. They don't know the answers. They don't know which way to turn. They're fighting themselves on how to cope with being a single mother and deployed. Talk to the soldiers that are joining right now, that are single moms deployed, and let them know what resources are available for them to get help, to get assistance from your perspective.
So I was lucky enough to have a very good family. I know some people don't have that. My parents, as well as my daughter's grandparents, were like the best. Anything I needed when I was getting ready to deploy, they were there. Up until my daughter was school age, she would split her time. So just a quick background, I deployed when my daughter was 3 months. So 2003 to 2004, I came back. She came back to live with me. Then again, from 2005 to 2006, I deployed. I came back for a little while from 2007 to 2010. 2007 to 2009, I deployed. I had a 15-month deployment. And then from 2010 to 2011, I deployed. So I was deployed a portion of every year from 2003 up until 2011. And her grandparents, as well as my parents, they took care of everything. With the help of course, other family members and, making sure she got to school, making sure she was doing the things she was supposed to do. They were just there. I honestly don't, aside from like WIC, when I first had my daughter, I don't think I ever really relied on any military services or any other assistance services. However, I know there are some out there. Now, for those who may not have, I guess, a strong support system, it may be harder. I know just having my daughter with me, putting her through daycare and post daycare is extremely expensive to me. So, just having to have her in daycare as opposed to me being with family where I could leave her with someone was a little difficult. So there were times where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna send my daughter back home because it's easier for me to have family members look after her and to be able to, save more money or, do other things than having her in on-post daycare and I'm paying, I don't know, $400 a month as a E3 or E4 or, not making that much money. So it was definitely hard, but you make it work.
Yeah.
You reach out. Luckily, well, actually, when I was pregnant, there were 4 other ladies. We all came from Korea, pregnant. So, and we all had our kids within a week of each other. So we were very close. So when we were back in Arizona, we hung out together. The kids hung out together. We had a real, good bond with each other. So that was another help because I didn't have family out there. So they became my family.
That's excellent. Any of you other ladies want to chime in on that? Resources for single mothers.
So, there is a program out there called NACRA. It's NACCRRA, and they are a program that help you pay for childcare for your kids. So that is something that's very helpful, especially if you're not near an installation or a military base, or if you're the military base. Sometimes they stay so full. So that is a program that it pays a tremendous amount. When the boys, we were stationed in Birmingham, it would have been $210 a piece a week for the boys. So we're looking at $440 just a week.
Right.
And with that program, NACRA, we only ended up paying, I want to say, $80 a week for the boys.
Yeah, and it goes according to your income, right?
Yeah. Do what?
It goes according to your income.
Yes. Income and the amount of kids.
Right.
So, and they even help during the summer months for people that, your kids are not old enough to leave them at home by themselves, but they are not old enough to be left at home by themselves, but they're too young. It helps with the summer programs as well.
Absolutely. Revisa, you want to chime in on that?
For my first child, I used the Fleet and Family Center. They had a new parent support system there. So I was clueless, first child, so I worried about everything. But they actually send nurses to your house and check up on you, give you ideas of how to do certain meals. And they always bring different type of learning activities to, hey, do this with your child, and just give you that support so you're not like just going crazy. Because when I was married, I was meal to meal. So during my pregnancy, my husband at the time was deployed. So I was by myself with a new child because he didn't meet my daughter until she was 4 months old. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. My mom's in Ohio. I was currently in Washington State. So it was quite a distance. And so that helped me a lot because it was reassuring that, okay, you can do this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I can tell you, if you're watching this live broadcast or if you're watching a replay, that you can go to www.militaryonesource.mil. Again, that's www.militaryonesource.mil. There's a plethora of information on there for single parents, not just single mothers, single fathers as well. The Family Readiness System is a network of programs, services, and agencies that all collaborate together to promote family readiness and give you a better quality of life for those that are working alone, being that single parent in a household. So once again, that's www.militaryonesource.mil. I can actually
Also,
tell you all. Go ahead, Shannon.
Also, another thing is that if you are, even if you're not just a single parent, but if you're expecting your first child, they almost every installation has a family readiness place, and you can go and they give free birthing classes, they give free CPR classes, they give a bunch of free classes that can help you as a single parent or as a couple. they help both, because I know that's where we did our birthing classes with.
Thank you for that information. And I got to tell you, if you are watching this broadcast and you are a single mom or a single parent, please don't suffer in silence. Find someone that you can talk to, your battle buddy, your friend, a family member, someone, because there are resources out there that can help you. Whether you're a civilian or you are a military mom or dad that's struggling to raise your child on your own, please do not suffer in silence. If you would like, you can inbox me, and I promise to get you some sort of information to assist you. I'm not a certified person that helps with family readiness, but I can assist you and push the information to you to provide you with some sort of outlet for information. I will do that. So, ladies, let's jump into this real quick. Being a single mom, some days you just don't feel like it. Some days you're tired. Some days you just like, could somebody please come over here and get this child? Or can somebody please just give me 2 hours to myself? You know, let me start with you, Revisa. Were you afraid to be a single mom and raise your child, or what fears do you have?
Yes, just knowing, because I had back-to-back children, so my kids are 16 months apart. And in the Navy, after your child turns 1, you go back to a deployable status. So I had the whole term with my oldest one, and then once my little one turned a year, that's when I got sent to my next ship to go back out, and I was extremely nervous. Luckily, my mother, she came and moved with me. So this way, every time I'm out to sea, I'm going in and out, she was there for me, so I didn't have to send them away. She took care of everything while I was gone, so they weren't moving, so they didn't have to change anything in their routine except me being gone. So that was a lot of stress that was gone with her being here. And so she's here. She says she's going to be here my whole career as long as she's alive. So she says she's going to stay with me. So I think we can do it. And I have a family will help me anytime I call. Their father's mom, very supportive, talks to them. She comes and get them every so often. So I was nervous at first, but I've been making it, so I'm going to keep striving.
Wow. Well, I can tell you all. Well, let me ask you, Shannon, any fears for you?
Any fears?
Mm-hmm. For being a single mom.
I think the only fear for me is just because I have boys. You know, we can raise our boys to be strong, teach them how to treat women, but there's nothing like having that male role model to teach them how to be a man.
Exactly.
It's I'm one of those, because I lost the ones before. I'm so hands-on with the boys, and so my feelings be hurt sometimes. Like last week, I had to have the oldest boy. You have to call your dad. I don't know what to tell you. Because he was complaining about his man parts, and I'm like, I don't have them issues, so I don't know what to tell you. Go FaceTime your daddy. So, of course, I just PCS from Tampa. And so I wanted to get closer to their father so that, he can see them more. And, when things like that happen, hey, you need to come get your son, had this conversation with him. So, I got one that's starting to lock the doors on me. So
I'll take it off the hinges.
I know. I be getting that little penny turning the little thing. You don't pay no bills in here. Ain't no locking no doors. So I think for me, that's the biggest, the biggest thing. And with today's society, seeing what's happening to our Black men,
absolutely,
in society. So that is my biggest fear.
Ashley, any fears for you?
I don't think I have any fears about being away. Because I don't know. I think she's in good hands when I am away.
Well, fears
Sometimes
about being a single mom, period. Just living your everyday life as a single parent versus having someone there to help you along the way.
I think sometimes I overcompensate and it doesn't prepare her for the real world. So whereas my daughter, she don't even cook because I've always done it. My daughter's 15. So I've always done it. And now I'm like, hey, you need to get up and cook. And then she's like, well, how do I do it? I'm like, if you can look on the phone to do all this other stuff, you can look up a recipe. Exactly. So I think my biggest fear is not her not being prepared for the world.
Yeah. And I've always struggled with well, first I gotta tell y'all, my son, my oldest child, is about to turn 16. So he's been searching for his identity. And the missing piece of his identity is his father being in his life on a regular basis. So my husband can't be his biological father, but he can have an impact in his life. But my son is still searching for that connection with his biological father. Will that happen? He pops in, he pops out. It's nothing that I can physically do about that. So sometimes I beat myself up, or I fear the unknown of what if he never sees him again, or, what if he doesn't get out of the relationship when he's trying to get out of it. Have I failed my son? Sometimes I ask myself that. But no, it's I can only be the best mom that I can be. I cannot be a dad. I've realized that. I've come to terms to understand that I'm not a male species, so I can't teach my son to be a man. But I have a man in my life that can hopefully take some of that fear away from my son, so I won't be so fearful of him walking alone. So here's what I did just last week. I got an application to enroll my son in the Kappa League, which is a program that the Kappa's fraternity has that teaches your young male child how to grow up and be a man. Teach them, certain things in life that they need to know in order to grow and mature into the young man that we want them to be. So I did that because every time I ask my son, where do you want to be, son? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be in life? He said, I don't know. And he's 16. It's time out for the I don't know complex, So I'm like, I got to do something. What is it that I can do as a mom to kind of mitigate how I'm feeling? And that's what I did. I enrolled him in the Kappa League. Now, is he going to like it? I don't know. All I can do is try. And all I asked him to do was give it a try. You can't knock it till you try it at least once, So that's what I'm trying right now with my son. So moving on, I see we lost Shannon momentarily there.
Well, she's here.
She's there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see her.
I can see her.
Can you?
Yes.
I can't see her. I can't see her.
I can hear you and see you. Yes.
You can hear and see Shannon?
Yes.
I can't see her at all. Nope. I'm about to send her a message. Tell her to log out and log back in.
Okay, Shannon, log out and log back in.
Yep, I can't even see her to put her back up on the screen. So moving on, we're almost getting ready to wrap up here, ladies, but this is a great conversation. So Revisa, 2013 to 2015 was a very emotional time for you. And if you don't mind sharing, take the listening audience through those 3 years of your life to be try to be as short and brief as possible, but get the gist out and let them know what resources or tools you utilized during those 3 year time through that 3 year time period.
So 2013 was when I had gotten pregnant, and I was having issues with my pregnancy, and I ended up having an emergency C-section. Then my ex-husband was deployed, so I was there the whole time by myself. My mother flew out the day before. I had to have my emergency C-section. So she helped me get that part done and over with. When he came back, he met the baby and everything. Then the following year, got pregnant again and had another child in 2014. And then things went south and we ended up going through a divorce. So I was very pregnant while going through the divorce. I was waddling into the courthouse 9 months pregnant. So the week before I dropped my paperwork, I had my child. And then 3 months later, she was 3 months old. We were divorced. So it was a lot of emotions at once because it just seemed like it happened so quick. Like I had one child, then I was pregnant, then I was getting divorced, popped out the other one, and then was officially divorced. And then that was the time frame that I had to decide if I wanted to stay in the Navy or get out. And I wasn't prepared because I was like, I'm married. This is what I'm going to do. We had a plan, and then plans changed. So I wasn't set to get out, and I didn't want to be trying to still figure things out without a steady income at that time. So it was just a lot of things going on and a lot of things to think about through that time frame, and that's what made it so emotional. But family helped. My coworkers, they helped. So we switched off when they needed babysitters. I was there when I needed one. They took the kids, so we were there supporting each other, and it worked out.
Amen. Yeah, they always say that it takes a village to raise a child. My grandma told me that back in the day, and I'm still hearing it. But, I don't hear the new generation saying it. Let me tell you something. It do take a village to raise a child, because I'm going to tell you, I don't always have my family around. And my grandmother is 97 years old now. She can't watch my kids no more. My aunt is elderly. She can't watch my kids no more. But I got some sorors that I can call and say, I need you to watch my child. I need you to pick my child up. I got my husband, my mom down here in Florida. So it takes a village to raise a child. I don't care who you are or what magnificent parent you think you are. There's going to be a day or a time that's going to come, and you're going to say, I need to go X, Y, and Z. Could you please watch my child? I need some help. If you are sitting at your house and you are, all bottled up with your kids and you're afraid to leave, call me, inbox me, or call me. Because I'm going to tell you something. There's going to be a time in the day that you need some peace, a peace of mind. And you're going to need that support system in place so that you can go get you a peace of mind, even if it's just walking out to the front, getting your newspaper. You might stand out there for 20 minutes. People be like, why are you still standing out here? Because I'm trying to get a peace of mind, because when I walk back in, my kids is running all over my house. It's true. There are some woman out there right now that's watching this or may catch it later, that's sitting at home and scared to leave her kids. But
she go in the bathroom and shut the door. Somebody come.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. Because I had suffered sexual assault as a child, I was afraid at first to leave my kids with anybody. But I put my faith and trust in God and said, God, show me who you want me to leave my kids with. And that was my grandmother and my auntie. I'll never forget it. Those were the only two people I trusted to hold my kids down while I left to go TDY, while they was little kids. Now, it's my husband, my mom. I got a bigger support system now. But when I was first starting out as a single mom, oh no. I was afraid. I was afraid. But guess what? The train keeps on moving on the track, and I had to figure it out. And they tell you got to have that family care plan in place, so you can do your duty, or they're going to kick you out the military. If you don't have a family care plan, that's the real part of it too. I used to be struggling. Let me get this family care plan together. Commander, something. You 2 months late on your family care plan. I know how that is. And I know you all have experienced that as well. Yeah. So getting ready to wrap up the show tonight. I'm so glad that I got to interview you three ladies, and I absolutely appreciate you all for answering the call and coming on the line. Thank you, President Seabrook Hunter. Absolutely, I do it every crossing. It definitely takes a village, is what she said. Amen, it does. So Ashley, give us 3 words that you would like to leave the listening audience with as it pertains to being a single mother while being deployed.
I would definitely say faith will be one of them. Family and perseverance.
So why did you choose faith?
Because I have to have faith in the people that I am entrusting my child with to do what's best for her, as well as honor my wishes with raising her. And just faith in God that everything's going to work out. And I would say family because it's just been a huge part of me being in the military. And then perseverance because I just got to hurry up and push through so I can get to these 20 years
Good.
and get on out.
Good. Amen. Revisa, what you got for me? What's 3 words you'd like to lead the listening audience with?
Prayer, communication, and family.
So why prayer? Why did you choose prayer?
You have to pray about everything. Even if you're already home and your kid's just driving you nuts, like I have to say a little prayer to solve myself because I keep forgetting they're only 5 and 3 and they're not able to get kicked out yet. So, and just pray when you're gone. Just, hey, let them know, keep them calm, let them know that mom's going to be back. And so they're not worrying and just for their safety. So pray about everything.
And your next word was communication?
So if no one knows if you need help somewhere, they can't help you. When I was deployment, my mother got sick. She was the person taking care of my kids. I reached out to our cluster here, and they tag teamed the girls. They even helped my mom get to the hospital, brought her back, and they watched my girls for a day or 2 so she can recover. But they wouldn't have known if I didn't have mentioned it. So definitely need to communicate to get that help. No one's going to know what you're going through.
Amen. And what was your last word?
Family.
Family. Same as Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all need that family support. And you know, I've met some soldiers that didn't have any family. I have. They said, I don't have nobody. I met some students since I've been the Army Reserve Liaison there at Fort Gordon. And they tell me, Master, I don't have nobody that I could call. I don't have anybody. You know, and a lot of them want to go active duty because they don't have nothing to go back to. You know, so we have a different conversation to get them to stay on track. Because if you don't have any family, I mean, what does that look like? You know, and I had to get down into the weeds with one of my soldiers because I was afraid for that soldier. But what this soldier kept telling me was, I want to be a soldier. I want to be a soldier. I want to go active duty. And I made sure and that soldier was homeless. I made sure that soldier was able to go active duty. And I got the report back not too long ago that soldier was prospering and getting ready for deployment at Fort Hood. So, you know, we have to have different conversations with people that come to you and say, I don't have no family. I don't have anybody to call. You know, they may have family that's distant and they don't know them or they don't want to deal with them or the family pushed them to the side. But what does that look like? And we're charged as officers of the military, you know, non-commissioned or not, to do something about it, to make a decision to help that service member thrive. And, you know, I felt the sense of duty when I got to the position that I'm in to make sure that if I was ever faced with a soldier that did not have a place to go, my duty was to make sure that soldier had some place to go, you know. Shannon, what you got for me?
Trust, prayer,
is she back on?
Educate.
Oh, I can't see her.
Trust, prayer, and educate.
So why did you choose trust?
So I chose trust because you have to trust what God is telling you. A lot of times God is sending us signs and we're so stuck on what we want and not what he wants for us. So being like you, being a child that was sexually assaulted at a young age, you know, you can be that overbearing parent, but you have to trust that you're making the right decisions. And, you know, when God's telling you something, we have to listen. It's not always about what we want.
It's 9 o'clock.
Absolutely. It's not always about what we want.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, I tell people time and time again that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, you know, and sometimes we have to be willing, just as Revisa said, to communicate. Because I cannot tell you oftentimes enough that I've heard soldiers or sorors or some of my friends even say, you know, I don't know how to do whatever. And I'm like, what? You know, all these people you got surrounding you, all it takes is you picking up your phone saying, sis, I need X,
Right.
Y, and Z, or sis, can you do this, that, and the third for me? If I can't do it, I'm gonna say, try such and such. They may be available, you know, but first we have to be willing to communicate in order to get some assistance.
Yep.
We have to be able to communicate to get some assistance. And if you are watching this live line or catch the replay, I need you to know that it's okay to communicate. You know, whatever it is that you need. And if you want some assistance and you don't know how to approach someone or know what to say or how to say it, you can inbox me. I'll help you. I'll help you figure it out. I absolutely will. I will help you figure it out, because this is we're in a dating time now where we need to pull another sister up and help them. We need to pull each other up, because I don't know everything. I don't ever claim to know everything, because I absolutely don't. So there's a time when I have to reach and ask somebody, sis. I've called Ashley and asked her, sis, I need you to help me with this. You know, so we got to communicate with each other. That is huge. And that is big. And that's on us as human beings first, as mothers second. We have to communicate in order for people to help us. If they don't know, then they can't help you. People don't know what they don't know. But be willing to at least release the information to at least one person. If that person don't help you, text somebody else. Call them, text them. We got to be able to help one another. Ladies, is there anything you all would like to say before we conclude this live line tonight as it pertains to the show, or anything you want the listening audience to know? What are you guys up to these days? Anybody an entrepreneur yet?
No.
I'm starting my little
Not yet.
crafting business.
What you say, Shannon?
I'm starting my little crafting business.
You better come on through with it. What's the name of the business?
We ain't got that far yet.
So come on, sis. So now let me write that down. I'm gonna have to hold you accountable for that. On September the 13th, she said she's starting a crafting business. We need the name of the business.
Yeah.
The name of the business, Shannon. So I'd like to tell you all, I am an author now. I'm a part of the We Are Women of Substance anthology. This book has launched. It came out June of this year. I'm so excited about it. And I told a few things that happened to me in my life that allowed me to become a woman of substance. So if you get a chance, go ahead and purchase my book, because it is very exciting. I am one of the 10 authors in the book. The entire book will touch your life. The entire book will touch your life without a shadow of a doubt. But I am also an entrepreneur. I am the CEO of Lens of Faith Photography. I'm also the CEO of Lens of Faith Speaks, which is currently my speaking platform. And I birthed this Lens of Faith Speak platform to find out who my audience is. One of my signature speeches is illuminating darkness. So I'll tell you all this really quickly before I let you all off the line. My name is Chandra. Chandra is the moon in Indian. As you know, the moon illuminates darkness. So that's where my signature speech came from. My name will illuminate darkness. It's the moon in Indian. So I think of myself as a bright light that shines. And my sorority name is Radiant Light. So my name befits me. I think I have the right name, and I absolutely walk in my name and stand in purpose in life. I am a purpose-driven woman. I am a woman of substance. And I pray and ask God that I'm able to touch as many lives as I can through this Facebook Live podcast and through my sorority, through my businesses, through my soldier journey, however long that allows me to be a soldier, and through being a mother, a wife, a caretaker to my family. And I absolutely love everything that I do. And I am excited about life. So I'm grateful for these three ladies to join me on tonight. I cannot wait for my next episode. It's every Thursday night at 8 with Lens of Faith. This season 2 is walking through it. So this season, I'm talking about walking through whatever it is that you go through to get to where you're going. Okay. That is what this journey is all about. Keep your head up, ladies. Share your journey. Keep talking and sharing your journey with others. I thank God for each of you. Anything that I missed? Any lasting words before we close out?
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So, ladies, stay right where you are, and I'm going to talk to you in just a second. Stay right there.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. I would like to thank all my followers and listeners for tuning in to today's show. You have been listening to Walking in Your Purpose, Thursday night at 8 with Lens of Faith. Connect with me now. I want to hear from you. Please like, share, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lens of Faith. God bless.